speaker, I just want to update you on a couple of club events coming up in the next several months. The next Class in the Grass will be Saturday, September 13th, the usual time from 10 to 2. We've had our first fly tying at the Boyce Brewery at Country Club Road in Winston-Salem last month. This month it'll be on Tuesday, the 26th at 6:30. Look for a flyer. We didn't have time to post a flyer last time, but we will definitely post a flyer for the up and coming one on Facebook.
I'll take that.
The next Tying for a Cause in support of Casting Carolina and Casting Hope will be Saturday, October 18th from 9 to 3. That's at the Capwise Fly Fishing Center in Lenore. The Nantahala trip, November 6th through 9th, is full at this time. And one more. Just to give you a heads up, the annual Christmas banquet is going to be on Wednesday, November the 12th at the Lorette Center in Kannapolis. There's still some last minute details that need to be worked out, so I don't want to put out cost and other details, but you can mark down Wednesday, November 12th.
I'll get the thing made up next week for it.
Tonight's speaker is going to be Gregg Murphy. He's the author of Stream Safety and Fly Fishing. He's the inventor of the Stealth Staff, and he'll be presenting subjects as CPR, wilderness first aid, use of waiting staff, and other recommended safety devices and communication issues. He's a 33-year professional firefighter with the Charlotte Fire Department. Worked as an emergency medical technician as well as Swift Water Rescue. He's been called out outside the state of North Carolina, and he has several years of fly fishing experience. So if you will, Gregg Murphy. Thank you.
Greg. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight. I hope everybody gets something out of this tonight. First thing, how I ended up writing this book was I got away from fishing for a few years. I don't know why. I went fishing one day and came home and I put my stuff up and I didn't go back. And then sometime later, I decided to get back into fishing. It's been strictly fly fishing. And in the process of doing this, I started researching, reading books. Then I found YouTube, and there's so much information on there, and there were guys in there, talking about this, talking about that. But the whole time watching this, I'm seeing guys doing stuff that really isn't that safe. And I'm wondering, wait, they not know what's going on? They not realize what's happening here, what they're doing? They're putting themselves in danger. So I started researching, trying to find more on anything anybody wrote about or videos about, and I really couldn't find anything. The only thing that I could find was people talking about what happens if you fall in the water wearing your waders. And that's really still a big argument, because there's so many variables involved in that. Some people say you're going to sink. Some people say you're going to float. It all depends on the situation. Faster moving water, like if you were, God forbid, got washed away, the power of the water is going to get down in your waders. It's going to almost probably work like a parachute and drag you in. So, but again, it's all too many variables in there. The Tuskegee Fly Shop did a good video on this, just demonstrating, but and pretty much came up with the same answer every time. You're not going to sink. But again, it just all depends on the situation that you're in. So, other than that, that's all I could find on my research. So, a few years ago decided, well, I guess nobody else is going to do it. I'm going to write a book on it. So it took a couple of years and a lot of fighting with the editor and going back and forth, and I finally have it out now. So the name of it is Stream Safety and Fly Fishing. So before we get into that, I want to do a little survey here. How many people know how to do CPR? Well, that's a pretty good show of hands. How long has it been since you had a certification? Richard?
Been what?
20 years maybe.
Well, yeah, if it's been more than 5 years, it might be a good idea to go get recertified. Just, things change, methods of doing it change and all that. But if you still have a general idea how to do it, it's a good thing. CPR saves lives, I've seen it. But the thing about it, witnessed CPR, meaning if you're at a family function or a restaurant or something like that, and somebody goes down, if somebody can start CPR immediately, the sooner the better. I'll give you an example. When I was in the Charlotte Fire Department, we had an average 4-minute response time. But the thing about it, that's 4 minutes, that person's heart's not beating, and he's not breathing. So if somebody standing nearby can jump on them, that's a better chance of survival. So keep that in mind. Next thing, everybody knows basic first aid. Had any training in that? That's something, if you haven't had, that'd be something good to get. There's, I think you can get it online now. I think there's
Red Cross actually does it online
yeah.
now.
Yeah, you can get online so you don't have to go anywhere and do it, which is pretty good setup. The next thing is anaphylactic shock. People that are allergic to insect bites or insect stings or even have food allergies. Having an EpiPen is paramount in these situations. If any of you have anaphylactic shock or are susceptible to it, have an EpiPen on your person at all times.
Can you just buy those at the drugstore, or?
You have to get a prescription for it. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have it. I got stung by a bee and I've been carrying one for years.
Yeah.
They have something new called, it's a nasal EpiPen.
Really? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's something brand new. And it's got, I think, a faster reaction.
Yeah.
I've never had to use needle.
Yeah.
I probably hit the wrong spot in my leg.
Well,
But it's quicker than not having.
it's pretty simple. Right there, 8 to 10 seconds, let the fluid get in. Those,
It's called, I don't know, it's EpiPen or something for nasal.
yeah,
It's a brand new prescription.
yeah, I haven't seen that, but yeah, I can see why that works faster.
Yeah, it would you.
So you can't just carry one in case somebody needs it. I mean, I don't need it, but
Yeah.
it would be a good idea to have one nearby.
It would be,
Yeah, yeah.
it would be good to have one nearby, but really, again, you're gonna have to get a prescription from your doctor for it. And,
Bee stings, my wife and I were camping out on the trout stream, and she got stung by a yellow jacket.
Yeah.
This is 30 years ago, and we didn't have anything, not even chlorofeneramine,
yeah,
which is an antihistamine, any kind of antihistamine, anything like that.
mm-hmm.
And it's critical.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, you gotta consider, most of us are fishing places that are pretty rural.
Fire ants,
Yeah.
bees, and anything like that. Body wash.
Yeah,
Body wash. Yes, anaphylactic shock. Oh my God.
like I said, in Charlotte, we had a 4-minute average response time. But if you get in these areas that are more rural, they don't have the tax base, they don't have the revenue, so they don't have, a lot of them only have manned fire stations.
Also, people don't realize, but peanuts, shellfish.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people get reactions from that.
Oh, yeah. There's something you need to keep in mind, you know, because if, you know, you and your buddy are out there fishing somewhere and something happens to your buddy, you might be the only help that he's gonna get for a little while. So if you can kind of get these classes, certifications and stuff, it's gonna benefit you. Also, we are fishing in a post-Hurricane Helene environment now. If, I'm sure everybody saw the videos of what happened to the streams and how they were overrun and all the debris and everything. So, something to keep in mind, you know, there's not only debris in the trees and on the banks and all that, but there's some debris under the streams and under the sand at the bottoms and stuff. I was at Helton Creek back in the spring and on a sandy bottom, and I saw a piece of sheet metal sticking out like that, and it must have been pretty big because I tried to get it and pull it out and I couldn't. So, and then you got to consider people, you know, like, farmers and stuff have barbed wire fences. You know, if those posts get washed out and they get tangled up and they end up under the bottom somewhere, that's something else to get caught on or cut, and you don't want that because that can lead to an infection, which is a bad day. If something else you'll notice about this picture, you see how that's broken off because it was so undercut. That's something else to be careful of, because otherwise it probably would look like a decent, you know, a regular bank, and you walk out there and you put weight on it and all of a sudden it crumbles, you're gonna take a bath. And hopefully it's, you know, something calm like that, not heavy moving water and get swept away. We got a lot more debris to deal with. It's up in the trees and up under everything, so just be careful and be aware of that. All right, these are some situations that made the news. April 24th, April of 2024, a 44-year-old man went fishing on Wilson Creek and did not return home. His body was recovered days after his disappearance, located downstream from where his car had been found. And I remember hearing about this on the news, and the guy went fishing sometime after a storm. Now, a lot of streams, that probably doesn't mean a lot, but Wilson Creek's a different area because it's in the bottom of a gorge. So it originates up around Grandfather Mountain, and then it has all these tributary streams feeding into it as well, so that's that much more water coming in. So if you go up there after a storm and this had all this rain dumped on it, all this water's got to go somewhere. It's going to the lowest point, which is Wilson Creek, and it's going downhill, so it's picking up speed. It's a beautiful place, but I'll avoid it during storms. Don't, and after. Let it settle down for a while. March of 2025, a man gets stuck in quicksand while fishing at Wilson Creek. Took the fire department several hours to get him out. I don't know how he got in contact with anybody, if he was fishing with a friend or what, but I know my cell service sucks up there. So whoever helped him or got a hold of the fire department for him really saved him. I've had an experience up there myself. I was fishing in the hatchery supported area. Water was as clear as can be. Nice, pretty sandy bottom. I'm gonna tell myself I didn't have a wading staff. I left it in the truck, and I thought, that'll be all right. So as I was walking through and casting, I took the next step, and my left foot went up to about my knee in sand. I didn't have a wading staff to bear down on or anything. Fortunately, I was able to work my foot out and I got out of there and I went on downstream somewhere where there was rocks and stuff I could stand on. June of 2025, 2 young men go out on a fishing trip in North Carolina mountains. One of the young men was bitten by a rattlesnake. Fortunately, he was rescued and survived. Again, don't know the whole situation about how they got in contact. I do know he was flown out. He was flown to a hospital in Tennessee. He had to have several vials of anti-venom to help him out, get him straightened out. Who's ever seen a rattlesnake in the wild?
Never said it.
Does it?
Couple times.
Did it sound like they did on the movies?
I've heard one out west, I heard one like that.
I live up in the Brushy Mountains, and I've had a couple pass through there.
I know out living in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Years ago when I was younger, I used to free climb
Yeah.
on the Sandia Mountains. And one day I'm out there and it's been cold.
Yeah.
It's not warm out, it's cold. Pull myself up on a shelf to get up on the next level and face to face with a diamondback.
Oh my God.
And I didn't even think about it, about down there, and I just,
Yeah.
So what's the procedure?
luckily there was a ledge under me.
So what's the procedure if you're out in the woods, like if you're out in, the South Mills River, walking that trail 12 miles, you get bit by a rattlesnake, what do you do?
You better hope you got cell phone service or being able to get in contact with somebody. Rattlesnake venom is a lot worse than a copperhead. Usually if you get bit by a copperhead, go to the hospital, they're gonna give you Benadryl.
Really?
Yeah. But if you get bit by a rattlesnake, it's,
Is there any truth to using, cut the thing and tie it off, suck out the venom and all that kind of crap that you see? What's going on?
Your friend said you're gonna die.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, you're trying to kill your friend.
No, that's if you get bitten on the butt, you don't want to die. No, really,
you can try to get the venom out, but once it gets in there, and you gotta consider, in a situation like that, it's gonna scare the hell out of you. So what's gonna happen? Your heart rate's gonna start beating faster, and it's gonna start pumping blood a lot faster, so it's gonna get in your system a lot faster. So if the sooner you can get help on the way, the better off you're gonna be. Now, there are occasions where it's a drive-by.
right.
You know, it just all depends on the situation. If it's drive-by, the worst thing you got to worry about is an infection. But you don't want to wait around and find out.
No.
Yeah. You want to get help as soon as possible. There are a few other things that did not make the news. I heard from a local fly shop owner, told me some of his customers came in and told him about. 2 people got lost deep in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park while fishing a blue line stream. After considerable effort, they were able to acquire a GPS and get a GPS signal and find their way out. Another one is a man capsized his kayak while fishing on an isolated section of the New River. Phone went in the water, went dead, so it was no good to him, but had a buddy with him that his phone worked so they could get out. This one right here is a lot of what we've dealt with in swiftwater rescue. A man almost drowned in the Watauga River off Highway 105, slipped on a wet bank, slid into high, fast water, and was pinned against a rock from the water pressure, and was almost drawn under. He got out. That's what we call a self-rescue. This part right here, about he slipped on a wet bank. That's why I don't wear just plain felt sole boots anymore. Actually, I wear the ones that are Vibram with steel studs, but you can get the felt, you know, if you're a fan of them, and get the studs fit in, because I've been on Mitchell River before, walking down the bank to the water with just plain fill, and and happened a couple of times. That's when I changed. I said, I'm tired of this. Man had an encounter with a rattlesnake while fishing a backcountry stream in Stone Mountain State Park. Fortunately, it was not bitten. So he was very lucky.
Did he eat the rattler? They're delicious.
I wouldn't know about that.
They are.
That's the fastest you hear the rattler, you just turn the wheel away, walking after it.
It was just a guy, I think it was yesterday,
Uh-huh.
that died in Tennessee hiking and fishing for rattlesnake bite.
I saw that.
Gosh.
But he did what was really common for people to get bit. He was messing with it. He tried to pick it up.
Yeah.
I also heard something about Wilson Creek, I read it on the internet today.
Yeah.
They were talking about somebody said, can you swim in Wilson Creek? They said, yes, below the bridge, above the campground, National Forest there. But their response, they don't want you swimming because of all the debris from the lake.
Yeah.
And it can really mess you up.
Yeah.
So even fishing, you gotta be careful.
Yes, sir.
And just a couple of things, yeah, latest medical recommendations, you don't try to suck the venom out, you don't put a tourniquet on, you're more likely to lose the limb that way. You don't need to chop the head off the snake
Yeah.
to take it to the hospital, because the Pro-Mag is good for any North American viper snake. It won't work against a cobra from India, but anything from America does. Yeah, just, if you can, stay still, if you got help,
Yeah.
take your help. If you're stuck way out in the woods, and then you gotta make that decision, do I try and hike out or not? If you can, stay still, stay calm.
Yeah. Makes sense.
One thing you might know, George Daniels is, he's a, big guy in the fly fishing world.
Mhm.
Anyway, he wears snake gaiters when he goes like blue lining under these small streams and
Yeah.
all, because, he don't wanna get bit, so.
Oh.
That's another thing you can do.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on that is avoid it. Go fishing somewhere else.
Well,
It's,
that's where he fishes,
Yeah. Fishing is great.
Pennsylvania.
Fishing is great, but if you're gonna risk your life to catch a trout, then something's wrong.
How big are the trout?
We talk personal best here.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, there's like the guy that fell in the water, fell in Watauga. If I'm walking down there and I look and I see that water moving that fast,
Backing away.
yeah, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not worth it. And you never know, if he wouldn't have slipped and fell, or he could have got up on an undercut bank or something. And you just don't ever know.
A lot of people don't know what to do if you get caught in a river. Most of the people want to fight it, and I found on the Chicago one time, I was going down, I didn't have a waiting staff, and I got, stuck in place.
Mhm.
I just went with it
Yeah.
until I could get to my feet, back on the ground.
Yeah.
And I got up. If you try and fight it, a lot of times it works off.
Trying to fight the current, you're gonna lose, period. Water doesn't get tired. You will. It's perpetual, it's continuously moving. And that's one thing we learned in the swiftwater rescue class, if you get caught on something or you try to fight the current, there's one thing we learned during that is if you fall in the water, just lay back and put your arms out and keep your feet downstream, pointed downstream, and your feet can work as shock absorbers if you hit a rock. Now, there's been another school of thought on that. I've listened to a podcast, and this guy apparently, or supposedly, been through the training himself, but he had the idea, no, you need to get on your belly and you need to swim. My thoughts about that, I don't want to kiss a rock. Your airway is right here, so you don't need to do anything to damage it. You're going to be struggling enough fighting that water, and if you're trying to put your hands out or whatever, there's more strength in your legs than your arms. Put your hands out and try to stop yourself from, kissing the rock, that doesn't work in my book. So if you just fall back, put your arms out, go with the current, you see an eddy over here, you put your head in that direction and you'll naturally float over that way. You get an eddy, flip over, and then swim out or walk out, whatever you do. But this stuff about swimming towards it, that's
as bad as saying nobody's
Yeah.
gonna, when you're doing a rescue, nobody's gonna fight with you because they're panicking and pull
Yeah.
you under.
Yeah. That's another good situation you mentioned there, because if somebody's drowning, they're in full-blown panic mode. So if you go to rescue them, you need to try to come in from behind, and if you get close to them and they start fighting, just push them away. You know, sadly to say,
Better than me.
better lose one person than two, because if this person's in full-blown panic mode, he's gonna drown you. He's gonna fight you and grab onto you and all this. You just need to push it away. And hold on just a second, if he does drown, get him, I'm saying he, she, whoever, they drown, pull them out and start CPR on them and bring them back, but you don't want to drown too. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I don't know about, water safety and all, I took a course years ago.
Mhm.
I think it was, Red Cross water safety course, and they said, if you get a person, and he grabs a hold of you, just knock them out,
Mhm.
and then drag them out of the water.
But you hope not that first time.
But no, that was the procedure back.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the sixties.
Yeah.
When I first got to my first ship in '84,
Mhm.
I was young. I grew up in Florida as a teenager, swam every day for sports.
Yeah.
And I don't mean swimming, I mean, the football team would go out and swim
Oh, yeah.
against the current in the ocean as a workout. So I went out and I tried out for a rescue swimmer and got it. And the first thing I was told by the guy who was training me, who was an E6, was, if they're panicking when you go up on them, you have this part of your body right here. You
Mhm.
fold this up and hit them as hard as you can across the
Yeah.
bridge of the nose, and they're not gonna fight you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gonna knock them,
Yeah.
if you don't knock them out, you're gonna knock them out of the panic.
Yeah. All right, next thing. This kind of thing never happens to me. All the calls that I went on, whether it was a house fire, a car wreck, a medical call, people repeatedly said, this kind of thing never happens to me.
Until it does.
It does. It's going to. One of my ancestors was an attorney, and the name of his business was Murphy's Law. Anything that can happen will happen. You know, and anybody that thinks that, oh, this doesn't happen to me, well, hopefully it doesn't, but there's always that chance. All right, to get into the book, why I wrote it, as I said before, I'd been away from fishing for a while, started watching videos on fly fishing, seeing people doing things that weren't that safe. Another thing people were doing was standing in water, usually over their waders belt, and leaning into the current just to catch a fish. Now, I don't care how big it is, but what you're doing is you're using energy. You're using energy to fight that current. Well, if you slip, if the current's that strong and you slip, then that energy you're going to need to get out of the water, you've wasted standing there fighting the current. People fishing in streams that were deeper than they need to be in. Again, people standing, I kind of have a rule, I don't try to go over my knees. Now, that's a little easier for me, I'm 6'2", but I try not to go in over my knees. Occasionally I do if I can see the bottom or whatever, but some of these folks are standing in water, you know, where there's about that much water left that's not wet, you know, one step and they're gonna go under, or if they trip or whatever, they're going under, they're gonna get a bath. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully they're not standing in current that's too fast. There's another thing we learned about in swiftwater rescue. It's called a foothold. This could be anything on the bottom of the stream bed. It could be a rock that has a ledge under it that your foot gets caught under. It could be a tree root or something that grows and kind of makes a loop or whatever, and you can catch your foot in it. It might be a big rock that broke and split, and you get your foot stuck in that. Now, I was watching another video, and this guy, there's a lot of videos out, he says he's a huge fly fisherman. He was complaining about corker boots because a buddy of his had some on, and he purposely put his foot down between two rocks to hold himself because the current was too strong. When he pulled his foot out, the sole of the boot came off. Well, I wear corkers. I don't have that problem. Of course, I don't stick my feet anywhere like that either. But the thing about it is, if you put your foot, if you have to force your foot down into a situation like that, and then for whatever reason, you have to get it out in a hurry, you're probably going to damage something. You're probably going to pull muscles or ligaments or whatever. Or if you have to get out in a real hurry, you may end up breaking bones or something. And then you're going to have that much more problem getting out of the water. So that's something else to always consider and remember. More reasons. I believe that the subject's been overlooked too long. Like I said, I did research. I couldn't find anything on it. And so I started writing it myself and doing research along the way and seeing what would be good to put in, what wouldn't. Could not find anything else on the subject. Another thing is to make people more aware of their surroundings while fly fishing. Make people realize water does not get tired, but you will. Water is one of the most powerful forces on earth. Again, all you got to do is watch footage on Hurricane Helene and see it destroying buildings, homes, cars, and unfortunately people were getting carried away in this stuff. So that's something you always have to keep in mind. Now, the one part here where I say to make people more aware of their surroundings while fly fishing. Now, that's just ingrained in me because of my training. But when I go out on a stream somewhere, I'm thinking like everybody else. I'm gonna fish right here, I'm gonna cast here, I'm gonna put this fly on, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But it goes beyond that. I take a good look upstream and see what's up there. Is there anything that could be debris that's gonna be coming down, like a down tree or anything, and limbs breaking off a bit? I'll look downstream to see what's going on down there, just to see if I move down that way. I get out in the water, and I'll kind of look up and look around because one of those trees, I'm gonna catch a fly in it. But I also look around and make sure there's like no hornet's nest or wasp nest or anything that I might accidentally hit and piss them off, and then they're coming after me. So if you just kind of do like a 360 and look around and look for anything out of the ordinary. I know at Elk Creek a few years ago, there was a big piece of timber washed up against a rock, and it was just doing like that. You know, it was part of the bottom of it submerged and the rest of it up in the air, you know, and it looked like it was about 10 foot long. And I kept watching that thing because I was thinking, it's gonna, sooner or later, it's gonna set loose. And it's coming downstream and it doesn't care what's down there. It's, you know, so I didn't want to get hit by that. But it's just stuff like that you need to keep in mind and keep a lookout.
Watch out for kayakers too.
Yeah.
And tubers.
Well, in some areas, you gotta watch out for tubers.
Yeah.
Oh, cougars.
Try to cover as many situations as possible, working off my experience and training as a firefighter, EMT, swift water rescue technician, as well as personal experiences growing up fishing, spending time outdoors. When I was younger, I used to do a lot more stupid stuff. Got older and realized I need to quit that. I don't heal as fast. I'm an avid reader. I've read a lot of books and still continue to read. But one thing I've learned, some books are pretty easy to read. Other ones are kind of hard to read. You know, it's just like you struggle to read them, and you know, you might put it down, and you may come back to it, you may not. It's just some people's style of writing, I guess you'd say. So I tried to write the book, make it simple, easy to read, and kept chapters short where, you know, if you could take a break from it, come back to it, pick it up, and hopefully finish it. All right, now we're gonna start talking about a few things that are in the book. I'm not gonna tell you everything because I want you to buy it and read it. Areas covered are communications in emergency situations, relaying your location to the 911 operator or emergency telecommunicator, alternatives to cell phones, recommended devices for an emergency situation. All right, everybody's got a cell phone pretty much. But you know they have their limitations. I'll give you an example. Mitchell River, I'm pretty good as far as the reception up and down the river. Helton Creek, pretty good. There's a couple of places the reception's not all that great. Wilson Creek, it pretty much sucks all the way down. Elk Creek, Wilkes County is hit and miss in there. And then between there and the Smokies, I don't really have much experience with anything in between those. I hadn't really fished those, but of course when you get into the Smokies, it's going to be zero. The Pigeon River is hit and miss, but I try to remember where, you know, I'm getting the best cell signal at. Also, you need to keep track of your battery. Yeah, you don't want to go in there with a low battery because it's going to be searching for a signal, so it's going to be draining the battery that much more. I always try to keep mine at a full charge before I go in.
I don't know if any of the other carriers are doing it now, but T-Mobile, I just got done beta testing for them.
Yeah.
Their new GPS program that they've set up with Starlink, that for all these areas you go out into, you can't call, but you can text.
Yeah.
And I tested that about a month ago when we were up in the mountains.
Yeah.
Where normally I have all it says is SOS. And I sent a text message to Maggie Valley Fly Shop. Robbie told me when we got back he got it with the coordinates and everything.
That's good.
So now it's $10 a month for the service added on, which for safety reasons you can't beat that.
That's good.
The newer Apple phones have that built in or whatever, there's no extra charge for it.
Yeah, there's some of them that have the satellite link now. I know Apple and Google.
That's what this was.
The latest Google phone does, but I think it's just a one-way thing, isn't it?
It's just for SOS call.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's for text, but I think you can actually call.
Yeah, the one you're talking about is the SOS GPS one-way only.
Yeah.
So you can get a signal out and it automatically, just like an EPIRB or an IPIRB, it bounces off the satellite and it triangulates you and sends it to whoever you're texting.
Wow. Yes. And that costs $10 a month?
Yeah.
like an Apple cell phone, how do you locate your location on there? I don't know how to do that.
Sarah?
Anybody know?
What?
How you find your location on your cell phone?
Is
So
it-
you got to call somebody.
I do Steve using a cell phone. I have a Garmin InReach.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
The
say
cell phone
works.
On this route.
You gotta have some kind
Gotta
of,
tell the fire department.
the only problem with those is you have to have your GPS on, and it's gotta be activated where your location is, or you have to tell them.
Like
Your-
Go to Apple
The
because
Garmin
they
is
don't put it right
automatically
now.
track where you are.
But Apple actually gives you their app, their Compass app.
Yeah.
Make sure you update it before you go out every time, because that's what's gonna link you to the satellite, and it's gonna show you your latitude and longitude.
Yeah, go to your compass
Yeah,
app, it'll be right on there.
I Google shows
Cool.
me in Concord, North Carolina right now.
I just put in compass.
Yeah, that's it. There's your latitude, longitude, latitude.
Oh, yeah.
And how do you update that?
Just open it
Okay.
before you go.
All right, well, this pretty much gets into what we were just talking about, location sharing. A lot of phones have location sharing where a friend or family member can track your location if you give them permission. If you don't have this on your phone, there are apps that you can go on and, on Google, or I'm sure, Apple has options there. You, it may, now, I'm not completely up on all this, but it may be more advanced now, but sometimes they weren't that dependable in rural locations because the reception was weak. Also, if you have this location sharing, there's something you should consider, not pointing any fingers, Richard. May give away your location when you say you're going fishing and your significant other finds out you are at an adult entertainment club.
I hate it when that happens.
Now, the first thing is probably, I'm not speaking from experience, this is what somebody said. The first indicator is if y'all have like a joint banking account and she gets alerts, she or he gets alerts that you're withdrawing money. And they think, okay, what's going on? They broke down or something, they need cash. And then they go to the app and they look and they see that you're at this place, your goose is cooked. So you might want to have a good divorce attorney.
What about the fly rod?
Is that in your book?
Yes. All right, now, when you do make a call, say you got good reception and everything, and you call 911 to report an emergency. The operator is a telecommunicator, not a telepath. They can't read your mind. Now, some jurisdictions, this may have changed lately, but some jurisdictions didn't have the ability to lock onto your position from your cell phone. And I don't know, some of the rural areas, I don't know if they have it now or not. So, but they gotta know, when you call, hey, I need help. Okay, where are you? I'm on Helton Creek. Okay, where on Helton Creek? I don't know, I'm on Helton Creek. That's not gonna work. If, one thing if you can remember, if you're going in somewhere, you're gonna park here, and there's a house there or a mailbox, and you see that on that mailbox, if you can kind of take a photographic memory thing of it and say, oh, that's 531 Helton Creek Road. So if something happens, you call them and you can say, I'm right here at 531 Helton Creek Road. They're gonna know where to send the EMS to you. If you're somewhere that you don't see any mailboxes, then landmarks are good things, you can say, I'm downstream of the campground on Helton Creek. And I say downstream, everybody understands that, don't they? The campground's up here, water's running this way, I'm downstream, or I'm upstream. Now, contrary to what some firemen will tell you, their compass isn't the same as other people. So if you say I'm north of this place, it might actually be south. So if you say downstream, hopefully they're gonna be able to figure that. You can also say, well, I'm downstream of the campground, I'm driving a white Ford F-150. You give them all the best description that you can, so when they come out there, they'll know what to look for, because they're passing it. The telecommunicator's passing on to them. They're on Helton Creek downstream of the campground looking for a white Ford F-150. It's got a camper top on it. So anything you can give them to help do that. Also, intersections. If you're just past the intersection, kind of look at the names of the roads, and say, hey, I'm up here just past this intersection, and that'll give them an idea of what's going on, where you're at. It's just, you got to kind of program yourself to do this, to remember to do this. Hopefully you don't ever have a situation where you have to do this, but it's good to remember. Cell phone alternative, satellite communicators. There's a lot of companies out there that build these now. I think, Bob, you were telling me you had one.
Yeah, I love it. It's the next size larger than that.
Yeah.
Gives you a map.
Mm-hmm.
No need to have any cell phone. I can send texts to private people. I can hit SOS and it locates the nearest 911 system anywhere in the world. Weather reports. So if there's a thunderstorm blowing in and you're up on 20 Mile Creek, you know there's a thunder, and you can see a weather map.
Yeah. The nice thing about that is two-way communication. If you get out somewhere, you're away from everybody else. If you just have one-way communication, you can send them a text or whatever and say, hey, I've fallen, I think I broke my ankle. This, can you help me? Okay. That's all you're gonna get. You don't have that two-way communication. With two-way, you can communicate to them, this is what's happened to me. They can tell you, okay, we've received your message. We have EMS on the way. EMS is for emergency medical services. We have EMS on the way. Be there in about 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever. Or if it's a longer ETA, they can say, okay, they think they're gonna be there in about 30 minutes. And then they can check on you. You have that two-way communication. That's a kind of a psychological thing, but it makes you feel more comfortable. I'm in contact with somebody. They know what's going on. They're coming after me. You're not sitting there wondering. You can, as time goes by, you can contact them again. Hey, do you have an update on an ETA? So that two-way communication has a great effect.
What's the cost of one of those devices? Do you pay a fee? Or?
They vary from model, brand to brand, model to model, and also a lot of them have a subscription that you have to, like a monthly subscription you have to pay. But my opinion,
24 a month.
okay.
Thank you.
My opinion, that's
And
well worth it.
The peace of mind.
I carry when I'm hiking, fishing, hunting, and hunting more than fishing. Because I bird hunt, and you're all over the place. You mark your car,
Oh yeah.
and I've been hunting with 4 really good woodsmen, and I go, okay, where's their car? And they go like this, and it's there. You get turned around with the dogs, and it shows you may only be a mile away from your car, don't have to go the way you came hunting, you can just go right over your car.
What are you using, Sport X? Spot X?
That's a way
Different ones that are out there. That looks like the Spot X.
Garmin, InReach.
So they do have their shortcomings, battery life, of course, and subscription based. There's also another way for your significant other to track you. Richard?
Thank you.
All right, a few recommended safety devices. It's called a peeless whistle. Doesn't have that little ball in there that flutters. Those things get clogged up with spit over time and freeze up. These particular whistles don't have that. They don't have any moving parts in them, which is a plus. They are used extensively in swiftwater rescue situations. They can be totally submerged underwater, and you come up and you give it a little blast and it blows the water out, and then it has a very shrill sound that follows that. It's an excellent way to get attention in an emergency situation. My personal recommendation is the Fox 40. That's what we always used. And I think they're probably less than $10. Don't you have it at your shop?
$7.99.
Yeah. And you can get one of those, put on, chest pack, vest, whatever you wear, just have it somewhere where it's easy to get to just in case. Now,
These whistles.
Fox 40.
Fox 40.
Fox 40.
Yes, sir. I would suggest, I know this won't happen with everybody, just use it in emergency situations. Because if everybody goes out there, every time they catch a fish, they blow one, or somebody's, hey, they do all that, then people are gonna get where they don't pay attention to them. But, and I'll give you another little tidbit. In swiftwater rescue, when we used them, when you'd see somebody downstream, you'd blow the whistle, and you'd look at him, and he'd be pointing at you. If he's pointing at you, he wanted to know, are you okay? And if you did this, you're okay. If you did this, I need help. So that's some signals if you fish in groups and stuff, and you can look down there and somebody, if they're looking at you, pointing at them, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. So that's something to consider as well, hand signals.
Just quick, that Fox 40 whistle, everybody's been to a Panthers game, you can hear the whistle up in the last row, it's a Fox 40.
Yeah, they're very loud. Get attention. Like I said, we use them in swiftwater rescue situations. Now we're dealing with water that's moving a lot faster and it's a lot louder. It's almost making a roaring sound, and we could hear overall that.
Is there a universal, in other words, like one blast on a whistle versus 3 blasts, or you let
The
folks?
one blast is to get attention, and I believe, I'm trying to remember now, I think that two blasts was you're okay, or 3, or a long blast was you needed help.
Thank you.
They give you an idea. If you're out on the water, you're fishing, having a good time, all of a sudden you start having chest pains and get weak all of a sudden, and you're getting short of breath. So you've got on your phone and you're able to get reception, and you call 911. And the fire department or rescue squad or whatever EMS crew is coming out there looking for you. And there's a lot of brush or whatever, they're trying to find you like that. But if you're short of breath, you're not gonna be able to yell real loud. But you can give that a little like that should catch their attention. and direct them to you. So that's something you can keep in mind. Another device that I just recently discovered about a year ago, this is called a Guardian Angel light. I looked at a lot of different lights, stuff that Coast Guard recommended, other just little cheap lights, you know, they didn't have very much power or anything. When I found this, I really liked it. It's very durable, has a lot of different mounting options, and it's waterproof, dustproof, and shockproof. I have one, I wear a chest pack, and I put it on the strap right there. It's got a light on the front of it, on a work light. So you can just push that button, and it gives you light right there in front of you. So if it's getting dark on you, or if you get out there dusk, you know, dawn, whatever, and you're gonna get rigged up before the sun comes up, you know, you got some extra light right there. It also has one setting where you can push it and just a colored light. Mine's red. You get them in several different colors. It lights up, so if a bunch of you are going on a blue line fishing trip somewhere, you know, you could just light up that solid red, and you know, everybody can keep track of everybody. It has, I meant to bring it with me and I forgot it. It has several different lighting modes, but if you'll notice, the button right there, if you hit that one, then you get everything. You get flashing lights, white light, red light, everything. I call it full-blown disco, all the flashing lights and everything. In a situation where you need help and the fire department, rescue squad, EMS, whoever's trying to find you, and you got that light flashing, that's another thing to help them find you. It also, it's a pretty good website they have, because they've got so many different mounting options. Mine, I have mount on a clip, so I can put it right there, or if I want to move it somewhere else, I can do that. People that like go run, jog, whatever, they have one, a mount, a strap goes around your arm, you can put it right there. They have them mount to your bicycle if you like to ride a bicycle.
Right.
They also have them that'll mount on your kayak. So you have one fore and one aft, and it's remote control. You don't have to fumble around reaching, trying to find them. You just click it and you're visible. There's two different versions. I think the one I have is called the Micro. It's probably about, you know, that big. I think it was probably about $60. But it's a nice light, it's rechargeable, don't have to worry about batteries and all that mess. I highly recommend those.
You can also carry charging bags, right? I've got a couple of charging bags for night vision stuff. That would be.
Oh yeah.
So if you get a situation where you run out of battery, you can pull off a charging bag.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, now we're going to talk about waiting staffs. I'm going to tell y'all something. Waiting staffs do not have an age limit. Those of you don't know, I created the stealth staff, and I go to different sales, you know, different events, sell them and all that. And I hear it so many times, I'm going to buy one for my dad. Oh, you don't need one? No, I'm not at that age yet. And I'll hand them the waiting staff, so look at that. Show me where it has an age limit on it. They're like, well, yeah, I've heard. Well, I don't want to look old. Well, sorry, that's gonna happen, you know. In swiftwater rescue training, one thing we learned, third point of contact is paramount. Now, we were dealing with a lot faster and heavier water, but still, you're walking across an uneven stream bottom. Sometimes you can see the bottom, sometimes you can't. Sometimes the bottom looks stable, as in Wilson Creek, and you found out that it was quicksand. So you can use it as a probe as you move along and poke the bottom with, and make sure, you know, you're not gonna step in a hole or a soft spot or anything like that. It also works for undercut banks, like you saw in the picture earlier. You can walk up there and hit it, you know, and make sure you have stable ground that you're gonna be standing on. Getting in the water, getting out of the water. You can use it, put it down like that, gives you something to bear down on as you get in the water. And then again, getting out, you can use it for the same thing.
Love snakes.
You can cover more water faster because you've got that third point of contact. You can motivate through the water a lot faster and not have to worry about moving like an old man or anything like that. Sorry. I use my wading staff in conjunction with a product called Gear Keeper. It's made by, they're owned by a company called Hammerhead Industries. It's a pretty industrial strength retractor. We use those in the fire service. We use them to hold our radio mics. We also use them to hold our thermal imaging cameras. They got drugged through all kinds of muck, you know, water, ash, everything in a house fire, or all the other good stuff we got to experience. They got drugged through everything and they continue to work. So I'm not a salesman for them, but I do believe in them. And they actually make one designed especially for wading staffs. Do you have those in your shop?
Sometimes we get them, I don't have them right now.
All right. But you can get them Amazon or gearkeeper.com. All right, now, for those of you that don't know, I designed and built my own wading staff. If you'll notice, I do paint them black if anybody wants to have a black one like everybody else builds, but I do different colors. This is just, I don't know what I was thinking when I painted this color. I got a little crazy just trying different colors, but I'll do some of them camouflage. Gray is a big seller. I guess people that have like Sims waders, it matches their waders. I do a beige color that matches the Reddington waders. I also have a dark green, kind of a forest green color. I do all types of colors.
And now you have a candy cane color
Yeah.
on.
I made one for Bill and Candy Cane for his fly tying Santa. But I only think I need this now. How I came up with this, I was at South Mountain State Park fishing, of course using my high-tech wading staff that, you know, broke down, had the holster and had the bungee cord in the middle and all that. And I was going through the water and it went down into the mud, and not thinking, the first thing I did was tried to snatch it out of the mud and it didn't come out, so I tried again. When I did, I stretched that bungee cord in it, and then it just rattled. I was so mad. I thought somebody has got to have something better than this. So I continued to fish. I considered throwing the wading staff off in the woods somewhere, but I thought, no, I'm gonna take it home. And I thought about it all the way home, and you know, thinking somebody's come up with something better. And I got home, I got on the computer and typed in Google, and everybody pretty much had the same thing. It was like one person came up with this idea and everybody else just jumped right on it. So I sat down at the drawing board and started trying to figure out, you know, a better setup. And I thought, what do I not like about these wading staffs? I don't like that bungee cord. I don't like them breaking down like they do. That's too many moving parts. I don't like that steel tip on the end, because every time you put it on a rock and it goes across the rock, it just lets every fish in the stream know that you're here. So I said, there's got to be something else. So I tried a bunch of different materials, and landed on aluminum. It's aluminum shaft. It has a rubberized coating on it as well as the paint to help keep it when you bang it into a rock or something. It doesn't make, it's gonna make noise, but it doesn't make that much. I put a foam rubber core inside of it also to help cut down on resonating sound. And then I discovered that Vibram makes a boot for these things, a foot for these things. So I'm familiar with Vibram products and liked them. And then once I got out and I started trying it, I was really impressed how well it works. As you can see, it kind of has a bigger footprint than the carbide tips do, so even in mud, it's gonna go down a little bit, but it doesn't go way down in there. So that was a plus. Below the handle here, I put a plastic cap that's about eighth of an inch thick. It's glued into place. The reason I did that, because eventually that aluminum pressing down on it like that would cut through it. So I put that cap on there to keep that from happening. The handle itself, is just a pebble grain finish and it has nice contoured top. So if you want to use it that way or that way, you can. Again, I have the gear keeper mounted right here on my chest pack. So, and it's very light. So the gear keeper pulls up and holds it right there. When I want to fish, I reach back there. When I want to move, I reach back there and I can just move along through the water. When I'm done with it, I just let it go and it goes right back there, out of the way. So I can fish. I don't have to worry about it floating down here, being in the way, getting caught in whatever. I let it go and it's going right back there.
I got a question.
Yes.
Do you have different lengths for different height people?
I can make different lengths. Most of them, this is 50 inches right here.
50?
But yeah, I can, if need be, I can make one longer, shorter, whatever. What do you prefer?
Gonna say that's almost as tall as John Robbins.
I'm only 5'3". I can't use a 50-inch.
I'm gonna pass that around.
Does it float?
Yes.
It does float.
Yes.
That,
pass
that
around
foam
this over
core
there.
also helps it do
Is
that.
there a wrist loop on the handle that you
You can put one on it. It's got a what's called a pad eye, like you put on kayaks and stuff. So you can make one, put it on there, or buy one, or whatever. Another thing I experienced with the breakdown weighting stats you have on your holster, when you try to pull it out, it's always stuck. You have to reach around there and get it, and then pull it out. And then another advantage of this, it's always deployed. Some people will go out there and have theirs in a holster, and then if they stumble or something, they try to pull it out, it's got, you need to do all that. Well, this one's deployed at all times, so you don't have to worry with that. Has no bungee cord inside of it, has no moving parts, nothing to wear out and break down.
What does it sell for?
75. It's designed to be quiet. One piece of aluminum shaft, has no moving parts, Vibram foot, gives you better traction and less noise. Foam rubber core, cut down on resonating sound, also makes it buoyant. That's about all I have, folks. I have my information right here. You can contact me. Anybody that's interested in a staff tonight, I have some out in my truck. Anybody that's interested in a book, I have some right here. You got a question, sir?
Do they have a warranty, because mine's got scratches on it?
That's cosmetic issues.
I think it's my issue.
Well, there's abuse. Yeah.
Operator error.
You were asking about a warranty? Is that what you were asking about? Well, if it fails and you drown, don't worry about it.
won't matter then, will it?
You do a CD card. I'm more like that. You better want it too. She may not be standard. And CPR is easy.
Johnny,